I woke up to the smell. Not the alarm clock. The smell. Coffee. The same strong, dark one you make every morning, but here it smells different. Here it is mixed with salt and the morning air through the open window and something else. Woody, living, unfamiliar. I opened my eyes. The ceiling of the camper van, honeywood, narrow, familiar. The window above my head, and in it the sky. Not the city gray, real blue, early with that transparency that only happens before 8 in the morning. You were already awake. I heard you in the kitchen. The soft sound of the stove, the clink of a spoon. You are always the first to get up when we are here. At home, I wake up earlier. But here you go outside before dawn, standing, watching. I know it, even though I have never seen it. I just feel it. I reached out. I took your sweater from the headboard, the woolen one, the big one that smells like you, and went outside. We were standing at a campsite in Basin National Park, in the very south of Florida, between the Keys and Miami, a place that most tourists pass by. They hurry onward, to the Keys, to Key West, and here, silence. Mangrove forest on one side, the bay on the other, and in the morning fog that spreads over the water so low that it seems like you're walking on clouds. I went out and stopped. The bay was glass, absolutely still, like a mirror in which the whole sky was reflected. Pink, gold, with that first streak of sun that had just crept over the horizon. Pelicans were flying low over the water, 4 in an even row, silently. You were standing by the steps with 2 mugs. You handed me mine, without a word. I took it. We stood side by side and watched the sun rise over the Bay of Bisson, completely silent, completely together. We cooked breakfast together. It had become a tradition by the 3rd day of our trip. You're in charge of the scrambled eggs, always with vegetables, always on that little stove that at first seemed uncomfortable, but now feels like home. I'm in charge of the toast and fruit. I cut slowly, carefully. I love this process. Our little kitchen for 2. Our elbows touch. We don't get in the way, just so close. You reach for the salt through me and I feel the warmth of your hand. I take the knife and touch your fingers. Accidentally, but I don't pull away. Move over, I say. Move over yourself, you answer seriously. But you don't move, and I don't move. We stand close together and make breakfast and laugh at nothing. We eat outside, on those folding chairs, a table between us, scrambled eggs, toast, mangoes that we bought yesterday at the little market by the road. It's already the 2nd coffee. The sun has risen, and it's warm. Not hot yet, but exactly like a hug. What's the plan? You ask. Bicycles, I say. You promised. We rented bicycles from a little shop at the entrance to the park. Old, a little creaky, but that's exactly what you need for these roads. You took a long time to choose, checking the wheels, brakes, handlebar height. I took the first one I liked, the blue one with a basket on the front. You have a basket, you said. For ice cream, I answered seriously. You laughed and didn't object. The route went through a mangrove forest, a narrow path, on both sides of which there were trees growing straight out of the water. The roots protruded above the surface, bizarre, intertwined, like something out of a fairy tale. Between the branches, birds. Herons stood motionless on one leg. Kingfishers flickered blue-green. You rode ahead. I looked at your back. Broad shoulders, a flat stance. You pedaled without haste. Sometimes you looked back to check if I was nearby. I am always nearby. We rode out to an open place, a small elevation above the bay. You stopped, and I stopped next to you. I put my bike on the grass and went to the edge. Below, water, turquoise, transparent to the bottom. You can see fish, large silver fish moving slowly in a school. The horizon is far, blue, endless. A camper van wouldn't make it here, you said. That's why we have bikes, I said. You nodded. We stood and watched. The wind from the bay was warm and salty, blowing my hair. I didn't wipe it from my face. I just stood and felt it. Then there was the hill. Not very high, but with a breathtaking view. We found it by chance. We turned off the route at a sign that promised a scenic overlook, and it turned out to be a small lookout point with a bench and that view. And ice cream. A little stand right there, as if someone knew we were coming. You bought two, a mango for me, a coconut for you. We sat on the bench and looked out at the bay below. The ice cream was cold and sweet and so appropriate after an hour on the bike in the Florida sun. I put mine aside on the bench for a second to get my phone out to take a picture of the view. 1 second. A seagull, big, brazen, gray-white, fell from above like a stone. It grabbed my ice cream right in the cone and flew away. It all happened so fast that I didn't even have time to react. I stared after it with my mouth open. Then I looked at you. You were looking at me, and your lips were trembling. You were trying not to laugh, trying really hard. Don't you dare, I said. You laughed. Loudly, for real, throwing your head back, the kind of laughter that makes me warm inside even when I'm offended. That's not funny, I said, but I was already smiling too. She just knew that mangoes are tastier than coconuts, you said between laughs. Traitor, I said about the seagull. You looked at your ice cream. Then at me. Then silently handed me yours. Eat, you said. And you? I'll watch. I took it. I took a bite. Coconut, cold, delicate, with that tropical flavor that fits right in here. Delicious, I admitted. I know, you said. The seagull was right. We laughed again, both of us, together at this nonsense that had become the best moment of the day. The route continued along the coast. We drove slowly, in no hurry. You stopped when you saw something interesting. An unusual bird, a beautiful shell on the shore, a tree with bizarre roots above the water. You picked up the shell, large, pink inside, perfect, and handed it to me. Hold it. I put the bike in the basket. There was no room for the ice cream anymore, but the shell was there, and I kept looking at it and thinking, here's a souvenir. Not from a store, from your hands. We returned to the camper van late. The sun was already low. The shadows were long. The air had become softer. We were tired. That good tiredness that comes after a day lived to the fullest. Not from deadlines, not from the screen, from the movement, from the sun, from the water and the wind. You pinned the bikes to a tree. I went inside and fell onto the sofa. My legs were buzzing. My shoulders were a little hot from the sun. But inside, it was warm and full. You came in after me. You looked at me, sprawled out on the couch with my eyes closed. Alive? You asked. Barely, I said. But I'm happy. You sat down next to me. You took my leg and began to massage it slowly, just like that, without asking questions. I opened one eye. You're gold. You always know what I want, I said. I know. You answered seriously. Evening came quietly. We set up the grill again. It became a ritual. The fire, the smell of smoke, the evening sky changing colors over the water. Orange, pink, purple, and then dark blue with the first stars. You fried the fish, bought in the morning from a fisherman standing by the road with a bucket. Fresh, silver, still almost alive. You wrapped it in foil with lemon and herbs and placed it on the coals. I sat and looked at you and thought, here he is, my husband, the love of my life, my soul, my other half, sitting by the fire next to me. The same thing that people have done for thousands of years. Fire, food, water nearby, stars above your head. Nothing superfluous, everything you need. What are you thinking about? You asked without turning around. You always feel it when I look. About how I feel, I said simply. You turned around. You looked at me. For a long time with that look. Me too, you said quietly. Night. The stars again. Orion is already familiar. I recognize him myself. You lay next to me and I listened to your breathing, even, calm, and thought. One day. Just one day. Breakfast together, bicycles, that cheeky seagull that stole my ice cream, a shell from your hands, a massage of tired legs, fish on coals, stars. One day, and it is full, to the brim, to that feeling when you lie down and think, today I lived, for real, tomorrow, a new place, a new morning, a new day that will be completely different and just as beautiful, because we are together, and our home, with us, always. Dear listener, do you think that happiness is something great and rare? That it only happens on special days? No. Happiness is the seagull that stole the ice cream and he who shares his without words. It is a shell in the basket of a bicycle. It is tired legs after a day lived to the fullest. Look for it in the small. It is there. It has always been there. Or for you, is happiness something else? Share in the comments below this video. What is happiness for you? Thanks for being here. Until next time.